you have to let my killer robot out into the fields of Ukraine. Like that's a world that exists in the multiverse.
It's like Asimov. It's like, yeah, this is just like Asimov. It's like, yeah. But this one, chainsaws.
Yeah. Ye old Monday buffet. Oh
Yum,
boy.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, 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 yum. Super Bowl hangover edition.
How was your Super Bowl?
I have never seen an ass beating like that. Maybe the only thing I could think of was the Tampa Super Bowl. And maybe
Chiefs will do that to you.
Chiefs will do that. They did that in 21. And then I guess that was 20 into 21. Kind of reminded me of the Seahawks and Broncos a little bit. Dear Lord, at one point, I think I was texting you. And I actually think it got worse after I texted you. The Chiefs had like negative yardage, like deep into the second.
Oh my God.
Let's see here.
Oh.
Who did I text? There was a point either, I think even at halftime. Well, there's definitely, okay, there was a point deep into the second quarter where we had something like 14 or 20 total yards produced. And our penalty yards were like 35 or 40.
Yikes. They'll also do that. They love getting penalties.
So,
despite what the rest of the internet says, they do make a significant amount of penalty errors.
The Chiefs, for I would say most of the game, were underwater in yards.
But isn't that what you need to win the game? Positive yards?
That would help.
Okay.
That would definitely help.
In theory, I guess you don't, but could just rely on the catastrophic failure of the other team. But
here's a text from 7:09 last night. I texted 14 total yards and 35 penalty yards. We have given the Eagles 21 more yards than we have produced. The Eagles defense with 2 interceptions. At that time, our leading receiver had 2 receptions, I believe, for 16 yards. The Eagles defense with 2 interceptions, that's for 38 yards and 7 points, is the Chiefs' leading scorer and receiver. So if the ball left Patrick Mahomes' hands, the Eagles were making twice as many catches and yards than most of our. And 100% more points. Until the very end of the third quarter, we scored 6 points.
Did we miss the PAT? Did Butker?
No, Butker never touched the ball with his foot. Now, what is the biggest line on that, dude?
Dude, I love. Not a huge foot. You know, I don't
kick for any points.
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I just like when the town is happy. I love seeing the Chiefs win. My second favorite thing I love seeing is the crime rate in Philadelphia shoot through the roof.
That is true. We got that. Although we can't really talk because we had a freaking mass shooting
Dennis,
last year.
You're right.
At a parade. And then they investigated it. I still think it was gang related. But they said it wasn't really a mass shooting that was gang related. It was actually 2 separate shooting incidents that happened at the same time. And then somebody pulled out and started fighting. Dude, we did not burn our town though. I will say that. Everybody's got a few bad apples. That is true. It is fun seeing Philly. I have no love for that city. I love their teams more than I love their city. I just don't like that town.
I saw they were tearing down stoplights.
I know.
Some guy had a big, like, they call them cakes, like the big artillery fireworks that have like 24 in a thing, you know? And someone had one and they were trying to hold it over their head and it just dropped and like immediately started shooting into the crowd and detonating. They picked it up again though. They got the last couple ones in there. That's amazing.
I love my Chiefs. We'll come back next year. Shit, we might even be in it again next year. Don't ever count Patrick Mahomes out. However, It was the fourth quarter before we outscored their defense. Well, it was just a historic ass beating. We did put up 22 points. You can argue garbage time, but dude, you watch Mahomes. He was trying. He was doing everything he could do. There was one play that was like emblematic. I think it was late third quarter, early fourth possibly. The offensive line just completely collapses. He's got 4 or 5 guys all chasing after him. He like jukes most of them. I believe gets a first down. Looked incredible. Immediately called back because of holding. And I'm not blaming the refs for that. I'm just saying. I've heard a lot on the radio. I've heard a lot on sports radio today. People saying they didn't see him like hyping everybody up and stuff. And he you know, like you normally do in like a old Chiefs comeback. But
I mean, if you go to Disneyland, you don't need your mom and dad to say, "We're at fucking Disneyland." You're already excited to be at Disneyland, right?
Yes.
You know, like you shouldn't. I don't know.
That being said, if he was dejected, if he was feeling a little bit like, "What's the fucking point?" I don't blame him.
Yeah.
That fucking dart though for that third touchdown with 2 people on Hopkins, I believe that was fucking sick.
You know who had a good game also? The Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
Big controversial halftime show, full of symbolism.
Really? I didn't see that. I saw it on American.
Well, it was like a pretty good commentary about. I think it was pretty good commentary. I think there was a lot of feedback. There was a lot of blowback because it was in New Orleans, so everyone said that Lil Wayne should have been given the halftime show.
Wouldn't that be cool though if each city who had the thing got to showcase their own people?
Right. Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that would dispel a lot of rumors about who's controlling the game.
I want to see a list of Super Bowl locations and halftime shows. I mean, like, what would the Vegas act? Wasn't it in Vegas last year? What would a Vegas act be?
Tom Jones and Britney Spears.
Yeah. Celine Dion.
Siegfried and Roy.
That would actually be kind of sick, actually. Oh, here we go. I found it. Last year was Nevada. It was Usher. Then you had Arizona, Rihanna. Kendrick Lamar. Oh, yeah, he was part of that big, the rap extravaganza. That's probably the last great, the last actually really great talk about it forever Super Bowl halftime. I'm not saying Kendrick Lamar was even bad. I'm not even commenting on him.
Yeah.
Or Rihanna or Usher, but like, you had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem.
Those were, they kind of hit like the
50
perfect,
Cent.
that their music is relevant to this generation and the one before, and then like maybe even the one before that, like, I don't know.
It's just a lot of star power.
Yeah.
It's lives up to.
Right.
I do.
Rihanna is good, but not everyone loves Rihanna. Not everyone. Everyone knows In the Club and fucking Snoop Dogg and Dre, Eminem songs. Like, everyone knows those songs. Love them or hate them.
Oh, well. I'm trying to see what 2020 was. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez. Like, that's a lot of, Also, okay, I'm going to be real with you.
Shakira and J-Lo, that's too much ass for one stage, I will say.
I can't take it. The party I was at, we kind of had the sound turned down for the show, so I kind of learned 90% of what I know from the internet.
I didn't watch the game.
Right.
So
I did hear that that a large section of it, or some section of it, was dedicated to just like stepping on Drake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. His like the biggest song he won a Grammy for this year is a Drake diss. And it's like a brutal diss.
I didn't realize he won a Grammy for it. Is that the one where he accuses him of being a pedophile?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
And then
dude, I'd be
also,
so pissed if I was Drake.
There was someone saying, because he had like the square, circle, triangle, and X that looks like a PlayStation controller, but those are also the symbols they use in Squid Games.
Okay.
And then there's some beef with like Sony Records and then Drake's label. I think Sony owns Kendrick's label.
Okay.
And then they have beef with whatever label Drake is under. So it was like, it was a corporate fuck you also.
Is that not like
it's
us?
like beef between the labels, the owners of the label.
It's like next fucking level.
Yeah, so I don't know, that's just a post I saw. I don't know how true that is, but the symbols, it pinged on my radar for Squid Games. Like the rich are exploiting the poor, and he goes into like he had like, you know, people dressed in red, white, and blue. They're all black people. They, you know, make the American flag, and it's like this country was built by black people, etc. And then like Samuel L. Jackson.
I thought that part was bizarre. I kept going like, what is he doing there? Why is he part of this? Yeah.
Well, he's supposed to be like kind of the Uncle Tom figure.
It's your uncle, Sam, and this is
kind of like a character, kind of like the character he played in Django.
I'm reading the transcript, and he's literally says, "It's your uncle, pause, Sam." So yeah, that was an Uncle Tom joke.
Yeah.
He's supposed to represent the sanitized America.
Right. It's like the promotion of certain black figures and celebrities. Like, look at this, and it's a way to ignore the past. They're like promoting black figures now, and I don't know. So I think there was a lot of good commentary about that aspect of it. Anyway.
Wow. One thing I will say, just in general, how do you feel, like, in your soul about a Grammy and Super Bowl performance that's largely grievance-based or, like, diss-based against, like, another artist? Like,
I personally, I don't like Drake at all.
what? Why? I don't know anything about Drake.
He just is like.
Assume I'm from Mars.
He's like a nepo baby. His like uncle or he's like Quincy Jones's nephew.
Oh.
Or like he's related to Quincy Jones, who like obviously is one of the biggest music producers of all time. He produced Thriller. So like arguably talentless, always accusations of ghostwriting. Like he's simply a performer.
Yeah.
He's a public figure and a performer, and as an artist, probably vacuous.
Nepo baby.
And he makes completely hollow music.
I'm sure.
Probably a narrative that's completely fabricated by a team of ghostwriters, not even like...
I get it.
Yeah. But
definition of like corporate plant type shit. Like,
yes, in contrast to Kendrick, who raps about lived experience and he's like an amazing lyricist and writes his own raps. And
Leslie's Theory.
Oh, dude, how much does $1 cost, or what does $1 cost? To Pimp a Butterfly is a fucking perfect rap album.
That is my favorite rap album, actually, oddly enough. I cruised around with that for a year and a half.
All of his records are good. Good Kid, Mad City, they're all just like front to back amazing records. They have stories. They have like bangers that are singles, but they
ain't free.
Yeah.
I am not a celebrity gossip or like know anything about them person, but I knew I liked his work more or less. Like, whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh, this seems different. It seems like, Drake aside, there's so much vacuous everything, especially in like popular genres and stuff, that when you catch somebody like him, it's just kind of nice. Like, you're like, oh, something's being said. So I appreciate that.
Mitchell Harmon has an amazing...
Oh, Drake bit?
Drake, but he raps like... from Drake's perspective, in Drake's voice, and like his rhymes are very, very clever, and like I don't know, it's an amazing bit. It goes over most people's heads, but he's like rapping from Drake's perspective, defending himself from the allegations of like being a pedophile, and like, I thought her name was 11, but really that was her age, and like he's friends with the Stranger Things girl, and then like,
Oh, God.
yeah.
Why do celebrities do that? Why are you hanging out with kids? Like, at all?
Literal kids. And
Like, you're a millionaire. Like, even if you're not fucking them, like, why?
like I wouldn't, like I'm a chef. Let's say that's my expertise. I would not hang out. I would rather hang out with people my age who were not talented chefs than the most talented child chef.
Right.
I'm not going to go out of my way to be seen in public hanging out with the most talented child chef.
Unless you're doing, like, MasterChef Junior or something fun and entertaining, and it's for an audience. And
But they're like texting.
That's weird. Why are you doing that? Oh.
They're like tweeting.
Okay,
He's in her DMs, bro.
From that perspective, I get if that's like more common than you would think in like Hollywood, or like from that perspective, I get the Grammy for a diss track thing. Because part of me was just like, really, I like Kendrick or whatever. I heard those tracks they sent back and forth or whatever. I wasn't bumping them a lot. I didn't think they were as good as some of the other stuff I liked, but like.
Right.
But so that just at first shocked me when you told me that, like, oh wow, again, I didn't even know who won a Grammy.
Pretty sure he won a Grammy.
No, I think he did. He won 5, I think. I was looking up stuff about the performance. I just don't. You can miss me with the drama. But
Yeah.
if he's calling out in general something really creepy happening in like the industry and just like American entertainment shit in general, then like it just so happens to be aimed at Drake. Then
also-
like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
At first I was just like, because I don't understand the beef. I didn't understand it. I just knew it was a thing. So I was just like, are we really going that direction? Like,
And they like work together. Drake, I think, was on one of his bigger songs.
Interesting. So the Chiefs. I can't stop thinking about how bad that game was.
Oh yeah.
Why'd I start the show?
Poetic Justice, fucking problems. He's been on.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway. Well, big night for America. We will rebuild Philadelphia. Trump is sending aid.
Where? Who needs our help?
Nobody. You said, what did you say about gambling? You said now that football's over.
Oh, I can finally start betting on all the NBA games. On every single NBA game. Tune in next week for arbitrage betting advice with me
Yes.
and Dennis.
We had dinner today and we were talking about how to theoretically bet better. We decided we just got to buy more lotto tickets. We got to buy more scratchies. It's the only way.
The odds are the same on scratchies all of the time. And I'm like, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, you bought a Powerball? That's so." And I was like, "Okay, this cost $1 for the potential to win $1 billion."
Oh, that's.
And they're like, "Well, yeah, like why don't you buy scratchers?" I'm like, "Cause I pay $1 for a dollar scratcher, and the most I can win is $5,000." And the odds are almost the same to win anything.
It's not about winning. It's about the dopamine hit of having 30 seconds of imagining a better life. That's what you spend the dollar for.
That's worth $1 to me.
That's worth $1. You know how you feel when you give $1 to a homeless guy and you feel good for a second? Like it's like that, but you're the homeless guy.
Yeah.
You're giving it to yourself. I think I owe... I don't know how long this episode has been, but I think I owe the story of what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Unless you have a direction you want to take this.
No, I was thinking maybe we could do our horoscopes at the end, but...
I have no idea when we'll begin.
I don't either.
Well, okay.
No, I don't care either.
I don't care either. You say potato. All right, what did I want to be when I was a kid? Last week we did Nick. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I wanted to be like an engineer or scientist of some sort.
Okay.
I would say up until I was like 15.
Do you have a lot of Legos or like Connects or?
I did have Connects.
Okay.
What's kind of crazy is I've never been like a handy person.
Okay.
But I was good at like math, and I was always interested in robotics. Like, I did my like end of middle school when I was like 13. Like, I did that. I did my big like end of year project on robots. There was one called COG. Can you type in COG robot, like 1990s, 2000s? I was very interested in like artificial intelligence. I loved computers. I read like 4 biographies on Steve Jobs and like emailed them, and got an email back once.
This?
Yeah, that little guy.
Dude, it's the dude from Short Circuit.
I was obsessed with COG, and there was like some other. I was obsessed with IBO, COG, Apple. I was teaching myself Python. I was in computer club. I loved science. I was really good at math. I wanted to build robots. And that was probably the last coherent childhood dream I had. Throughout my childhood, I was just very interested. I always knew I wanted to be a scientist. I was very interested in science. For a while, I thought about environmental stuff. Everybody thinks about dinosaurs, but it was always in that realm. I actually took like a aptitude test, I think in like 6th or 7th grade, and I got engineer back as one of my top 3. I wanted to build COG. I would watch stuff about him online and read about him all the time. My little middle school thesis was about how we're only a few years away from like humanoid robots. There was another one. There was a Honda one, I believe, that could walk around that same time. It's a very famous video. It looks like a spaceman, and it's just like taking like these little steps. Asimo.
Yeah, Asimo.
That was an extremely famous towards the end of the 90s, early 2000s.
His arms are like always
it's like,
attenuated.
So I was super into Asimo and COG. And what happened? Let's see. I can actually tell you exactly what happened. So that was I was in band. It was like the only extracurricular activity I did. I was growing up in Turner. Okay, so... And really, at one point, I probably would have just stayed in Manor. I would have quit and done more like sciencey stuff. My family moved. We started building a house in Miami County, a little more rural area. And I was like, kind of not super thrilled with it or happy. Like, I kind of like was upset I was losing my friends or moving away from my friends or whatever. And so I just started getting to like a little more like social extracurriculars. Okay. Like, I had never had any interest in drama other than like loving comedy movies and sketch comedy and stuff. So I started doing drama, like pretty heavy. Like Try Out for Every Play was in most of them. I started doing forensics because of drama, which is like acting and speaking.
Now you do furry-ensics.
Now I do furry-ensics, digging into the world of furries, which, by the way, we have some news about that. So I started doing like more social. I was really into acting, forensics. I was taking, so like my electives, like really if I had stayed in Turner, my electives probably would have been like science classes or like advanced math classes. But I was like, it's very socially awkward. I'm still very socially awkward. I was like, I gotta be like cool and like make friends and like make the best out of the circumstance. Drama, forensics. Forensics led to debate because I found out I'm not super great at acting, but I was like kind of killing it, like even as a freshman in like speaking events and shit. Okay. So they're like, you need to do debate. So then I started doing debate. So now all my extracurriculars for all 4 years of high school were band, jazz band, drama tech, forensics class, debate class. I just, like, my extracurriculars were just used. I just gone, like, an artistic route through high school. Like, I would just have, like, one science class, whatever the minimum was to meet the standard, one math class, whatever the minimum was to meet a standard. And I placed fairly high in those. So like I ended up in like calculus and like engineering, but like those were like senior year. And at that time I was skipping class to like, I had gotten so into debate and forensics that I'd skip class to go to the library or go to my girlfriend's house or go to my debate partner's house who became like my best friend. And we'd go find internet somewhere at a library or something, and we'd just be cutting cards and evidence and just working on dominating debate like all year round. And that was my life. And then my free time was like, I'll do this play and I have to go to this football game for marching band or whatever the fuck. But it was all about debate. And that just kind of happened because I just kind of dove into, and then you find out you're good at something you never thought about doing. Like, I remember I had to do a presentation about my robot thing. Fucking hated it. I just remember being like, I never want to speak in front of anyone again. I know so much about this, but I can't fucking answer a question. I'm so fucking nervous. Then I ended up that becoming like my favorite thing in the world. And so that's how I completely changed. That's how my dream of science died. I got really into like political stuff, like hyper into political stuff, and was very political in like my undergrad at college. And eventually that washed out, but I still loved the topics.
So you did you had like a analytical bend, but ended up applying that to language, kind of, and then that kind of carried, like you went to law school.
It became, well, yeah, that's the direct story of my life. Is like,
so like
up until
you're still
high school. Even in the first year of high school, I still thought if you would have asked me, I'd be like, I want to do something science related, or because that's what I'm good at and that's what I enjoy and shit. That's what I'm super interested in. But then it's like, oh, I'm good at this. But then I just got really into that, and then it made me more political. It made me, and then I wanted to do politics stuff, which led me to law. And I like, even law school, I never thought I would go to law school until I was like a senior in college.
Interesting. Like, what did you think we were going to do at the end of your undergrad or whatever?
Like junior year?
Yeah, like before you realized you were going to law school. What was the other possibility?
I was going to try to go to grad school and be a professor and teach like political philosophy or political science. But then it like occurred to me, I even did debate a little bit in college. It occurred to me, and I did a lot of student politics in college. It occurred to me that like being a lawyer could kind of be like doing debate for a living. Yeah. And it kind of is, actually.
Right.
If you have a kid who wants to do one or the other, like there is a direct connection between like the type of thinking and the type of, even the type of work, all the prep and research and writing you have to do and reading to get to the point where you can make like a 10-minute argument. Like they are very...
Yeah, you're building a case for or against something.
Oh yeah, and there's moot court. You know, if your kid's high school offers that. If you want your kid to be a lawyer, debate. It really is like a 1-to-1. It's more of a fucking 1-to-1 than like the LSAT is. I mean, in my opinion, if your kid's extremely motivated in debate and works very hard and understands things and stuff, like
it's like the praxis of law. It's like applied theory.
Yes.
Of law, and then I would guess the LSAT is more theoretical.
The LSAT is logic.
Oh, I see.
There's a reading comprehension portion, which again is a debate skill. There's a reading comprehension portion, 1 out of 5 portions, where you read a thing about the Hopi Indian tribe and then it asks you questions about them and shit. Okay. But even some of those are logic questions.
Oh, I see.
Now the other part of the test, that's 25% of the test. 25% of the test is literally abstract analytical logic. Like there are 6 puppies, Albert, Bobby, Kitty, Darren, Eckert, they all need to eat out of 6 flower bowls. And you know what I mean? Like it's literally like almost like a math, like an Aristotelian math logic. That's 25% of it. And then 1/2 of the LSAT is short, 2 or 3 sentence to 1 paragraph long, short logical reasoning word puzzles. So they'll say like, well, Werner von Braun was a member of the Nazi Party. Later, he went on to work for NASA. Therefore, Therefore, NASA is associated with the Nazi Party, or something like that.
It's the rise of the Fourth Reich.
Right, something like that. It will give you a paragraph like that, and there's like 30 to 50 of these, I believe, a section. And so one half of the test is this. You would read a paragraph like that, and then you'd have a multiple choice, A through E, asking you to identify like what the logical problem with that statement is. And that's half of the LSAT. It's just doing that like 100 times.
So I was always good at reading comprehension, but I learned like a hack taking the test is flip ahead to the answers, read the questions first, and then you know what you're looking for, which is kind of a cheat, but
Oh, we're getting a package.
hey, it's several pairs of underwear.
That's not
for
a
me.
cheat. That's just a strategy.
Yeah.
I taught us that for many years, and I might again. And that's some companies, not all of them. Some companies and people who tutor tell you to do that.
Yeah.
Others will say that's a waste of time on a timed test.
Yeah. To me, it wasn't because then when you read through it the first time, you know you're looking for a date, a location,
Yes.
or a person or whoever.
The problem with that now I'm getting really in the weeds. The problem with that on the LSAT is at the end of the day, a lot of the reading things were actually about the logic of the piece. Or what can you assume or infer from this.
Yeah, anyway.
But anyway, no, so that's the story of how I got, that's the story of my schooling and my dreams growing up. That's it, yeah. Never built that robot.
We could start a BattleBots tournament in the basement.
I loved BattleBots in middle school. I watched that I fucking loved robots. I don't know why. I know why. I just explained why. But you want to win those. You want to win those medals at the debate meet. And you want to go work for the Bush campaign. We got time for robots. Anyway, so theoretically, there's a universe where I build an unmanned drone that you pilot. There is a universe where you are sitting in a fucking Navy lab and you've been pushed up to like colonel and you're meeting with me and I'm in a white lab coat and I'm like, General Domini, like, you have to let my killer robot out into the fields of Ukraine. That's a world that exists in the multiverse.
It's like Asimov. It's like, yeah, this is just like Asimov. It's like, yeah. But this one, chainsaws.
Yeah. There are probably multiple universes in the multiverse where we have that relationship. What if this is the abhorrent universe? What if this is the one where it's the only one? Where
I'm not a warlord and you're not a...
I'm not Albert Einstein. We're like the worst versions of ourselves. Was that a sketch? Was it a sketch or a comic? I can't give credit to whoever the artist was, and maybe I am making it up, but I swear I saw something along this lines where it was like...
You can take credit until we figure it out.
Okay, there's something along the lines of the guy, the people come to him, he invents some kind of like, okay, it was the universe, he breaks up with his girlfriend, let's call her Jane. And then he's like, he invents something where he can talk to him from other universes or whatever. And he finds out that like every other universe is married to Jane happily with like kids. And he can't find anyone to like commiserate with, or he can't find a universe where someone's not already with Jane because he's in the worst possible reality. It is a comedy, I believe, but anyway. So anyway, that's little baby Dennis.
So I mean, you were saying like, as far back as you can remember, it was science or kind of, because you like sci-fi stuff now. Does your mom or dad
I liked
they
it
into
even
sci-fi?
more when I was a kid. My dad was really into like Star Trek,
Okay, so they kind of maybe
Terminator.
by association you were exposed to those things, and then kind of
The only other thing that would ever have occurred to me
like where was the seed
would have been
planted?
comedy.
Okay.
I watched an absurd amount of like Kids in the Hall and stuff, and like
That
I would
makes
have little
sense.
fantasies in the backyard where I'd be like, oh, maybe I could like meet Mike Myers someday or something like
Okay.
that. Which would make sense when I changed, I could have played basketball instead of drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes sense why that was like my alt route in high school. But yeah, okay, so I was really into my dad like got me into like Ray Bradbury and stuff, and loved Star Trek and
Like
Sliders.
my grandpa and dad both liked like Hogan's Heroes and those types of. So I would always like see planes. Like I feel like that's where the seed got planted.
yeah.
They didn't watch a lot of sci-fi, so I was more interested in like military stuff. So that's like kind of James Bond. Watched a lot of James Bond.
That's sick.
Anyway,
I watched a lot of Yakov Smirnoff. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess the seeds do come from somewhere. I would say if you asked 3-year-old to like maybe 9-year-old Dennis, it would be anywhere from builds. Like I remember like when I was in like 5th grade, I remember I had like the idea, I was drawing pictures of a plane that had like windmills just to produce energy and shit. I was really into like Captain Planet and like shit like that. But it was still like a science related, like or one time I drew an ice gun that would like have a freezer inside of it and it would like make ice bullets and then like that type of shit, like Mega Man.
oh,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that type of stuff interested me.
Mega Man was sick.
I get that that's childish, but I was literally a child. But that type of shit, I was really into like that like techie stuff, and I fucking loved computers. I fucking loved the internet, and I loved computers, and I like worshiped people like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whatever. Like I remember I used to like to watch. There's like a made-for-TV movie. I think it's called Pirates of Silicon Valley. I had a VHS. Somebody had taped this shit. And I would just watch it for enjoyment. And it's literally the story of like Bill Gates stealing the graphical user interface from like Wozniak. And I just loved that movie because I was like, oh, these guys are the coolest guys in the world. They sit on their computer and they like invent things and so. I tried to write a book when I was a kid. It was about the organoid brain
Oh yeah, you
thing. And then they send it to another planet and they think it's like a god thing. And it was going to be like, who's to say if it is or isn't, kind of a very Ray Bradbury-esque idea. But anyway, enough about me. Let's read off today's lucky numbers. 7, 11, 12.
I thought you might appreciate this.
Is this, are you going to put this in the show?
Yeah.
Asimo. I thought this was like the coolest shit in the world.
How many steps will he make it?
I'm pretty sure he does.
2. Fetal position.
What's crazy too is
This is the funniest part. They like shut the lights off, and then they bring they bring out like a partition and put it
like it died.
Yeah, they put a fucking sheet over the body and like,
Oh my god.
anyway.
You know what's so funny too is that as a kid I didn't, but I just noticed, and I did know this as a kid, it didn't really strike me, but how small that thing was.
Yeah, it was like
There's
3.5 or 4 feet tall.
There's pictures of it next to Japanese women, and it's like
Yeah.
it looks child sized.
Yeah.
So like this is a toy. It could barely walk 5 steps, and that was like the most advanced robotics technology. Like,
Yeah.
Now, dude, those fucking Tesla robots.
30 grand.
You know what's funny? I still got the Love in Me on our fridge. We have Tesla robot, 30 grand, because that's a goal. Still want to own a robot.
Someone kind of stole Well, we can use it for whatever we want. Kai Sonati's like a famous streamer. He has one and uses it for like bits on his.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I say we
Draw one card and go.
draw a card and get out of here.
All right. Negativity is the enemy of creativity. Let's go.
Boom, dude. We had
That
a
speaks directly to me.
deep conversation about that.
We had literally, I must have manifested that card.
That's confirmation.
That is, dude. Hey, you know what? Ingratitude is treason to mankind.
We cut those.
Yes.
Don't lose your head. The Queen of Hearts.
Ooh.
Alice in Wonderland reference
That's
here
a
on
good one.
MKUSUal.
It's like MK Ultra Bonoro, subscribe. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This next week might be our last week in this format. We have plans.
We got a pot of stew cooking.
We have been hinting at it. We've been saying we've been toying with other ideas. Nothing we've said on this show is what we've ended up deciding on. We kind of have a direction we're going to go, and we'll explain it at the end of next week. But we're doing one more week. Everything you love will continue. There'll be news jokes. There'll be some kind of content with our comedy. There'll be some kind of content of us being douchebag advice. Nothing's going away. The conspiracy stuff's going to be big, maybe even bigger.
There will be through lines, threads. We're also going to add some stuff, and I'm not going to say.
Yes, we are. It's going to be bigger and better. You're actually going to have way more content. We're breaking out of the podcast game.
Yep.
We're going into the believe in yourself content game.
Yeah.
Self-actualization. But we are doing one more week. We're doing one more week because we're OCD and we're so close to 100 episodes. But you can't stop in the middle of a week.
I don't regret doing a podcast.
Hell no.
And I think it was the catalyst that we needed to get to this point. And just want to say thank you for everyone who's given your time to watching.
You're going to be more than satisfied with our new shit.
Literally, without you, we couldn't have done it. And just wanted to...
We'll save the crying for next Sunday buffet.
I mean... when did we start? What month was that? October?
We started the week of September 11th or after.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because our first episode was September 11th reaction videos.
January. So 6 months, half a year. We've done more episodes than almost every other comedy podcast that I know of has done in the last 2 years.
Well, okay, so really when we end this, we'll be 5 months in. And we will have 104 episodes.
Yeah.
Which is, if a normal podcast does one a week,
yeah,
we will have in under 6 months done 2 years of podcasts. So we're not tired of it. We just have a better way. You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see, you'll understand, and you won't be so lonely in the comment section soon enough.
Yep.
That's right. It's moving to OnlyFans. You guessed it. All right. We love you. Tune in tomorrow for the last Newsday Tuesday of all time. Possibly, unless
The
we just
finale.
Yep. I hope the news is good.
Yeah. We might have to.
I hope there's good news.
Well,
All right.
see you later.